of these reporters received messages from people in these two different chat groups. And so, Hannah, let's start with this group message that you saw. Robinson confesses in the message you saw to about 30 people in a group. And the quote of the message that you obtained was, "Hey guys, I have news for you all. It was me at UVU yesterday. I'm sorry for all of this." Hard to imagine how a group would even react to something like that, whether they would even believe it. I mean, from what you saw, what more can you tell us about what he said in his confession and how people in that group responded?
So Tyler's account on Discord went on to say he was going to turn himself into law enforcement momentarily through what he called a sheriff friend. And then he sort of said goodbye to his friends in a way. He said, "Thanks for everything. Thanks for the good times."
I mean, it's pretty incredible, Hannah, to even think about this, right? I mean, about 30 people the day after Robinson's arrest. I mean, you've been looking at these messages, and you say that a friend wrote in the same group chat that we're talking about here, "While Charlie Kirk's politics were not acceptable to some, I ask that we all say a prayer for him and his family during these confusing times." Now, this is obviously after Robinson's arrest, right, for allegedly assassinating Kirk. So presumably at this point, 30 people now know that this guy in their group is the one accused of doing this. So how would you describe the relationship between Tyler and everyone else in this particular group chat?
Yeah, so I don't want to get into too much of who was in this group beyond that they were friends of Tyler's who interacted with him online on this platform. But yeah, what was really interesting was after Tyler's account posts this on Thursday night, the night after the shooting, the chat just goes silent, and there is no response that night. And then the next day, after Tyler's name is now out in the news, after he's been arrested, a friend eventually chimes in to say, that note you mentioned, basically asking people in the group to pray for Tyler and also to pray for Charlie Kirk and his family.
But there was silence when they find out it's him. And at least in terms of their conversation on Discord that you're looking at, they're not discussing that somebody they knew, somebody in their group is accused of this?
I would imagine some of them were probably talking about it somewhere if they saw that message, but not in that channel.
Right, it's pretty stunning. Okay, so Nicholas, the messages you obtained are sent by Robinson earlier in the day. So this is on Thursday afternoon to a second Discord group of about 20 people. So this is a different group. It's another 20 people. So this is at least 50 people that are having these conversations. I'm just sort of doing basic math. Who knows how many groups? But this is this other group. And it was shortly after the FBI had released the photo. So at this point, he hadn't turned himself in. They didn't know who he was. In the group, what you've seen, Robinson's friends start joking that looks like him. And then within a minute, you say that he wrote back, and I quote Nicholas from your reporting, that he posts, "My effing doppelganger trying to get me in trouble." And then you report somebody joked the group should turn him into the FBI to get the reward money, to which Robinson replied from your reporting, "Only if I get a cut." This is incredible stuff, Nicholas. Tell me more about the messages you saw.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, this is 24 hours after the assassination has taken place. Like you said, the FBI has just released these first sort of grainy photos. And someone who knows Tyler in this Discord chat says, like you said, "Where are you at?" And he responds by basically suggesting that his doppelganger is trying to get him in trouble, making jokes about it. At some point, they made a reference to Luigi Mangione, who's accused of the assassination in Midtown Manhattan. And they told him, "Don't go to a McDonald's." They're sort of joking around with him. And he keeps joking back, saying, "I better also get rid of this manifesto and exact copy rifle I have lying around." It's, about 9 hours before he ultimately turned himself in.
Yeah, okay, so then, Nicholas, you've got another message just sent around the same time that some news outlets were incorrectly reporting that ammo had been engraved referencing transgender ideology. And you report that Robinson wrote about this, and I quote from your reporting, "I heard the ammo had something about trans stuff on it, but they aren't releasing photos or exact quotes. And also the claim wasn't backed by the official FBI, just some dude in the briefing room." So obviously at this point, it's very clear from this, he's following it very closely, maybe even testing to see how closely others in the group are following it right after they'd seen the images. What was your sense as you look through that and other messages around that time, at this point, hours before his arrest?
Right. I mean, from what he's saying, it sounds like someone who is closely following the news developments of the shooting, who is, discussing it with his friends and sort of just trying to distinguish what is confirmed information and what's not. So it shows that it's someone who's, definitely keeping an eye on this major shooting.